How's it going, peeps? It is now time for the second ever Smackdown results / review video I've ever done. I've done one before, and then I just stopped doing it for like 6 months. I don't know, forgot about it, just didn't feel like doing it. I don't know, but I stopped doing it. Just did one. And since then, or I don't know, a few months after that, I kept getting requests to do Smackdown reviews. Specifically from this one user that really wants to see Smackdown reviews. So, hey, just to show you that I do listen to the comment section, here is a my Smackdown review. So, Smackdown kicks off with CM Punk coming out, and he wants him some of the Wyatt family. He wants a fight with the Wyatt family, so he calls them out. But instead of the Wyatt family coming out, Curtis Axel comes out, and he's all like, hey, CM Punk, we've got some unfinished business. Because of you, Paul Heyman is in a hospital bed in Europe. So, he says Vicky Guerrero gave him this matchup against CM Punk right now. And then he goes in the ring, match starts. And in the beginning, Curtis Axel has the advantage, but eventually CM Punk gets back the advantage. And in the end of the matchup, towards the end, the lights went out, and that Wyatt family, you know, that's tiny little video that appears before the Wyatt family comes out, that appears, but nobody comes out. There's no Luke Harper, Eric Harper, whatever. And then, you know, once the lights come back on, like I said, there's nobody there. But from behind, Curtis Axel takes down CM Punk. He then goes for the perfect flex. He hits it, but CM Punk kicks out. I mean, who really expected CM Punk to not kick out of that? Ever since Curtis Axel's been doing the perfect flex, I don't think he's gotten a victory with the perfect flex. It's always with his other finisher. So CM Punk kicks out. CM Punk then goes for a backslide, but that doesn't work. So he just instead decides to hit the go to sleep. That works. Goes for the cover, wins the match show. After the match, then Bray Wyatt appears on the Titantron, but he's just laughing and he freaking blows out the lantern, and that was it. After that, it was a 6-man tag team matchup, 3MB versus the Usos and R-Truth. They did a cool little entrance where, you know, the Usos came out first, and, you know, the whole, well, you know, when we say Us, you say oh. They do that, and then the pyro goes off, and right when the pyro goes off, instead of the Usos music starting, R-Truth's music started, and this being R-Truth's hometown, he got a pretty big pop, but I don't know how significant that is, because at the same time, when it comes to SmackDown, I mean, big pops are edited in all the time from what I hear, so, but anyways, yeah, R-Truth comes out, he raps. As far as the matchup goes, pretty quick matchup. And R-Truth ends up picking the victory for his team with the Little Jimmy. I don't know, is it still called the Little Jimmy? I'm not sure. Because when's the last time R-Truth mentioned Little Jimmy? So yeah, R-Truth wins the matchup. And once R-Truth got in the match, got the hot tag, it was pretty quick from that point on. And yeah, so Usos, R-Truth win the 6-man tag team matchup. Following that was another tag team matchup, except this time it was for the Divas, AJ and Tamina versus the Funkadactyls. Towards the end of the matchup, the two legal Divas were Tamina and I believe Cameron, yeah. So Tamina pinned Cameron after Cameron went for, I guess, a Hurricane Rana from the top turnbuckle, but Tamina caught her and then hit a powerbomb, and she goes for the cover. But Naomi interrupts the cover, and Tamina just takes her out with a big boot, and then she grabs Cameron, headbutts her like twice, and tags in AJ, and I think on one of those headbutts, she might have busted open her lip or something, I don't know, but she started bleeding from the lip after the matchup. Anyway, she tags in AJ, AJ gets in, just locks on the Black Widow, and Cameron taps out, so AJ and Tamina win the matchup. And then El Campeón, or El Former Campeón, Alberto Del Rio comes out, and he cuts a promo on John Cena on Hell in a Cell. He says, well, actually he kicks off the promo by saying he's not only a world star athlete, he's a Mexican world star athlete, and that means he's better than everybody else. And then he goes on to talk about how at Hell in a Cell he was actually sick. He had a fever and this was hurting him, his knee was hurting him, his neck was hurting him, like everything was hurting him. And he begged the doctor to, you know, allow him to compete while everybody else, if anybody else was in Del Rio's place, they would have taken the day off. John Cena then comes out and, you know, he makes fun of Del Rio saying he's sick and, why not, you know, we're gonna send Del Rio a card, a get well's card or whatever, with some fruits and this and that and a message. Del Rio tells him, you know, you're acting like a stupid kid, it's, you know, just making jokes all the time. And John Cena says, it ends with John Cena challenging Del Rio to a rematch right here, right now. Del Rio says, you know what, I agree, let's bring out a referee, but then Vicky Guerrero comes out instead, and she says the rematch is not going to take place right now, instead it's going to take place at Survivor Series, so there you have it, John Cena versus Del Rio announced for Survivor Series. I was actually thinking maybe Damien Sandow would be added in, so it'd be like a triple threat match or something. So I guess not, or at least I guess not for now, because who knows, maybe he could get added into the matchup later. And then John Cena makes fun of Vicky, you know, for not making, he actually says, you know, the only moments Vicky is, I guess, doing good at her job or something like that is when she got fired as general manager and when she just shuts up. And Del Rio says that, I never thought I'd say this, but I actually agree with John Cena. He calls him something, but I don't forget what he called him. And then Vicky says, alright, you know, since these two guys are making fun of her, she puts them in matches. She puts John Cena in a match against Ryback and says that Del Rio is going to be facing off against this monster right now. And then the Great Khali's music hits, he comes out. They have a matchup around 5 minutes long, not a long match. I mean, what Khali match has ever been long? I guess maybe the longest the Great Khali match was maybe Great Khali versus John Cena way back when he faced off against Cena for the championship. And yeah, for the whole matchup, Del Rio was working on Khali's arm. At some point, he jumped off the turnbuckle onto Khali, who was down, but Khali like raised his leg up. And towards the end, Del Rio locks in the cross armbreaker, right? And the Great Khali, his legs are like under the ropes for like not the entire time, but he was just like moving his legs around, and they would go under the ropes. And usually when your leg is under the rope, I think so. I don't think you have to actually put your leg on top of the rope. I think it just needs to be under the rope or on top of the rope or touching the rope. And the submission's supposed to be broken, I believe. But it wasn't broken. Actually, at some point, I think the referee was like tapping Khali's leg and like drag Khali's legs away from the ropes. And Khali taps out, and Del Rio wins by submission. Afterwards, you had Daniel Bryan versus Luke Harper, and at some point in the match, Daniel Bryan went for his kicks. He goes for the last kick, and Luke Harper catches him with the powerbomb. Luke Harper in the matchup does his usual, I don't know how to say this, how does he say it? He's like, yeah, or something like that. That's like all he says. I think he said it at like 3 different occasions in the matchup. Anyways, in the end, Daniel Bryan locks on the S-Lock, and during the whole match, like, Eric and Bray Wyatt were watching at on the ramp, so Eric goes in the ring and attacks Bryan, breaks the S-Lock, so it's a disqualification win for Daniel Bryan. Luke Harper and Eric then beat up Daniel Bryan, and Bray Wyatt looks to join in. He like climbs up on the apron, but before he gets in the ring, CM Punk slides in the ring and helps Daniel Bryan take out both Eric and Luke, so Bray Wyatt kind of like backs away. And once again, Daniel Bryan and CM Punk stand tall, just like on Raw. Afterwards, they showed like this long replay of Raw, of Big Show and, you know, getting rehired, and Kane, and, you know, Randy and the Shield beating up the Big Show. And then it came time for the main event, which was John Cena versus Ryback. Match lasted around 12 minutes, so it was the longest match of the show. It had a pretty slow start. You had Ryback dominating like the entire matchup until the end, where John Cena started picking up momentum, hitting the shoulder tackles, the spin outs, back suplex, and then he goes for the five knuckle shuffle, but Ryback catches him with a spine buster. And highlights here, actually there were two highlights. You had Ryback hitting a jackhammer, the jackhammer suplex, and even on commentary they acknowledged that Goldberg put away his opponents, a lot of opponents with that move. And then Michael Cole says, yeah, there's a lot of similarities between these two superstars. And then at some other point in the matchup, Ryback hits a spear. You had John Cena locking on the STF, right? But Ryback got to the ropes. And then, John Cena backs away, and once he turns back around, Ryback hits him with the spear. And I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that Ryback did that in a previous matchup on like a house show or something, or maybe on Smackdown last week, and they edited that out or something. I just know he's done that before. So, I'm pretty sure Ryback, that's Ryback versus Goldberg is a possibility for WrestleMania. I just think it's down to if Goldberg wants to do the matchup or not. Anyways, yeah, who wins the matchup? John Cena wins the match with an attitude adjustment. See, Ryback went for the Shellshock twice. First time, John Cena got out and countered it with a DDT. Second time, John Cena gets out of it and hits the AA out of nowhere, and then picks up the victory, picks up the 1-2-3. After the match, John Cena's kind of exhausted, and Del Rio attacks him from behind. He goes on the outside of the ring and kind of drags John Cena, who's on the inside, towards the steel post, and works on John Cena's arm, even super kicks John Cena's arm into the steel post. Then he takes a bit of time to get back in the ring. That allows John Cena to get up and starts punching Del Rio, takes out Del Rio out of the ring, and Del Rio teases, going back in the ring, but he doesn't. And that ends the show. So, what did I think about SmackDown? Highlights, my thoughts. Well, as far as highlights, like I said, Ryback hitting the jackhammer suplex and the spear, with JBL and Michael Cole acknowledging it on commentary. So, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think, I do think, that Ryback versus Goldberg is a possibility. And also, as far as like which matches I enjoyed the most, I really enjoyed although it wasn't like a long matchup, it was a short match, I did enjoy the 6-man tag team match involving R-Truth, the Usos, and 3MB. It was an action-packed matchup, entertaining match, and as far as like the main event matches, I'd go with Ryback versus John Cena being, a pretty good matchup. Like I said, it started out off slow, but then it started to pick up a bit. And John Cena, by the way, John Cena did hit his one of his new moves, that back suplex into it's kind of like a full Nelson / back suplex into a neck breaker. I like the move. And as far as my thoughts on the show, it was a decent SmackDown, but it's still, watching this, it still doesn't feel as like important as Raw. So, hopefully that changes soon, now John Cena as the world champion. But as far as this week goes, I'm going to have to give the nod to Raw. I thought Raw was a better show than SmackDown this week. And as far as a rating for SmackDown tonight, I would give it a 6 on 10. So, that is it. Oh, and by the way, another highlight, actually also involves Ryback, was during the John Cena and Ryback match. Ryback lifted up John Cena in a military press position for 20 seconds or so. He just, had him up there and was actually turning around while doing so. That was pretty impressive. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to click that like button. It shows me that you guys enjoyed the video, so I can keep making these SmackDown reviews. So if you do like the SmackDown results / highlights and review video, make sure to click the like button for more. And with that said, I'm out. See you guys.